Okay, so Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. This is the second part. So just we have discussed about the wave packet, and the shape of a wave packet actually depends on its a constraint waves. So if we have sinusoidal good waves, then the wave packet will be like this. This is a well-shaped wave packet, and if this the waves are random like this, then the wave packet may be like this. Now question arises, this is related to the matter wave, and matter wave is always associated with matter, means that matter wave is associated with particles. Now inside this the wave packet, where is those particles? So to find out the existence of that, the position of that wave particle, we need to interpret, to use that wave function psi square, and which actually gives the probability of the existence of that particle. So in this case, where we are observing maximum somewhere here, so here this psi square is maximum, means maximum particles are somewhere in this strip. So we can locate the position of the particle here. X is well defined. So we can locate position in this case. Position. But lambda wavelength is not defined in the first case. Here this wavelength is not defined because the shape of this wave is disrupted. So there is no well defined wavelength, and we have this momentum, that relation lambda, it is equivalent to h upon p. This is the Broglie's relation. So if lambda is not defined, this is not well defined, so obviously p is not clearly defined, it is not precisely defined. So here the position is well defined and momentum is not defined. Momentum is not defined. I mean, there is some error in the maximum error in the measurement of momentum. But in the first case, where we have a very well shaped wave, and here this wavelength lambda is defined as a simple wave. So in this case, if lambda is defined, so that momentum p is well defined. But we cannot talk about the location of its that location of that particle, in the position of that particle. We cannot say that particle is somewhere here or here or here or here, because all the psi square is here is also psi square is same, here also the psi square is same. So there is equal probability of existence of that particle everywhere. So we cannot exactly say about the position of that particle. So here momentum is well defined, but the position is not defined. But here the position is well defined and the momentum is not defined. So according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, the statement is given is, so this is not possible to measure the momentum, and it is not possible to measure the momentum and position of an atomic, subatomic particles simultaneously, means at a time, and precisely, accurately. So at the same time, if you want to measure the momentum and position of any atomic, subatomic particle, this is not possible in quantum physics. But in classical physics or Newtonian physics, this is possible, because we have different equations of motion. So at the same time, we can calculate its position as well as its velocity. So s in turn it's momentum. So this is actually the difference between the classical and the quantum physics. So if we cannot measure accurately its momentum and position simultaneously in single time, so obviously there will be some error, and that maximum error is given by mathematically, that is known as Heisenberg's uncertainty relation. So according to uncertainty relation, this delta x, this is the uncertainty, means error in its position, multiplied by delta p, it is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2, where h cross it is equivalent to h upon 2 pi. This is another Planck's constant. So now let us try to derive this, and this is very complicated when we use some further physics, but a simple method I am adopting here by using de Broglie's hypothesis. So let us try to derive this. So from this relation, we will have this lambda, it is equivalent to h upon p, or lambda that is equivalent to yes, lambda is equivalent to h upon p, and the wave vector k that is equivalent to 2 pi by lambda. So by combining these two, we will have this k that is equivalent to 2 pi p by h, and this delta k can be written as equivalent to, by differentiating this, h delta p, or delta p it is equivalent to h upon 2 pi multiplied by delta k. This is so simple, I think not complicated. Just I am taking this relation lambda, this is from the de Broglie's relation, lambda is equivalent to h upon p, and this is the wave vector k is equivalent to 2 pi by lambda, and by substituting this lambda here, we will have this k is equivalent to 2 pi p by h, and differentiating delta k is equivalent to pi by h and delta p. So just let us solve this for delta p. So delta p is equivalent to h upon 2 pi multiplied by k, and if you want to use this h upon 2 pi, then we can write that 1 upon h cross. Anyway, so we have one another relation, since delta k multiplied by delta x, it is greater than or equivalent to half. This is taken from that Gaussian calculation and Fourier analysis. I am not going to the details of this calculation, but the student have to remember this relation. Delta k multiplied by delta x is greater than or equivalent to 1 upon 2. This implies delta k, it is greater than or equivalent to 1 upon 2 multiplied by delta x. So by putting this delta k here, this delta p, it is equivalent to h upon 2 pi multiplied by 1 upon 2 delta x. So this is just change the shift here. This is delta x multiplied by delta p. It is greater than or equivalent to h upon 4 pi, or one can write this delta x multiplied by delta p, it is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. So this is Heisenberg's uncertainty relation. Not so complicated, simple calculation is here, and here student have to remember this relation, delta k multiplied by delta x is greater than or equivalent to, and simple mathematical by using mathematics one can calculate this. We have different form of this Heisenberg's uncertainty relation. So let us convert this in form of energy and time. So Heisenberg relation, this is in momentum and position. So delta p is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. In terms of energy and time, so by doing simple mathematics one can easily convert this. So let us do some maths. So we have the definition of velocity, this phi it is equivalent to delta x by delta t. This is simple definition from 9th class, 11th class physics. So one can write this delta x is equal to v multiplied by delta t. This is equation 1. And from kinetic energy, we have E is equivalent to half mv square. So just a delta E can be written as equal to half m and v delta v, and one can write sorry, there should be 2 also because this is square, so 2 will be cancelled here. So m delta v multiplied by v, delta v is shifted here, and this m delta v can be written as equivalent to delta p multiplied by v. So one can solve it for delta p. So delta p it is equal to delta E by v. So our target is to find delta x and the delta p for substitution. So this is the delta x, delta is equal to v multiplied by delta t, and this is delta p. So delta p is equal to delta E by delta v, delta E by v. By putting these two, that relation can be converted in energy and time. So we have delta x multiplied by delta p, it is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. So delta x is here. So v delta t multiplied by delta E by v, this is greater than or equivalent to 2. So v can be cancelled here, and delta t multiplied by delta E, it is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. So this is that Heisenberg-Sundström relation in terms of time and energy, and this relation is used in laser technology, where we talk about different type of transitions from one energy level to another energy level. So the same relation can be also represented in terms of angular momentum and angular position. So this is second, angular position. So let us convert this relation in these two terms, and again we will use that 11th class physics. So that angular momentum, angular position delta phi can be written as equivalent to delta x by r, arc upon radius. This is from the definition of angle. This is angular position, angle is equivalent to arc upon radius. So delta phi is equivalent to delta x upon r, or one can write again delta x, it is equivalent to r multiplied by delta phi. This is equation number 1. And the angular momentum that is z is equivalent to r multiplied by p. So this delta z, that is equivalent to r multiplied by delta p. So delta p can be written as equal to thus delta j by r. This is equation number 2. So again here simply we have this delta x and delta p, and we will put this delta x and delta p in this relation. So this relation is converted into, so we have this delta x delta p, that is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. So delta x is equivalent to r multiplied by delta phi, yeah, this is multiplied by delta p is equivalent to delta z upon r, this is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. So r can be cancelled out, and this delta phi multiplied by delta j, it is greater than or equivalent to h cross by 2. So this is another form of Heisenberg-Sundström relation in terms of angular momentum and angular position. So we have different form of Heisenberg-Sundström relation, and all these relations will be used in solving different numerical problems. So I think it's sufficient, and thank you all. I tried to calculate all the required derivation for that particular topic. Obviously this is a little bit complicated, some difficulties are there, and if you do some practice, then you can easily able to learn all this and calculate yourself. Thank you all.